He holds PhD in International Marketing Management, MBA in Marketing Management. Sir has 25 years of academic and 9 years of industry experience. His research area includes marketing, branding, green consumer behavior, corporate environmental proactivism, and natural resource based view of business, value chain analysis, community based enterprise development, sustainable forest management, and forest certification. Sir has undertaken more than dozen research and consulting assignments for the government, corporate, and international organizations like FAO, ITTO, and has conducted more than 3 dozen MDPs for the policymakers, corporate managers, NRM professionals, academicians, and scientists. He has many peer-reviewed articles, books, and monographs. And now I would request Sir to kindly give his presentation on the topic understanding the value chain of India's wooden handicraft sector and ensuring sustainability of wood supply. Over to you, sir.
Forest Chandigarh, and I was holding many other posts also in Chandigarh. Sir, it is little relevant to the topic that you covered, that is lifestyle for environment. I was Science and Technology Secretary also, Renewable Energy Secretary, and Director come Special Secretary Environment also. Like you said that we have kept a goal to make the country carbon neutral by 2070. Many other countries, they have set a target 2047 as the target year for to become carbon neutral. So Chandigarh has set a very ambitious target that we want to make the city carbon neutral by 2030. We had a very good brainstorming session some 2 years back, and many steps have been taken in Chandigarh. Sir, if you see the greenery, many people may not appreciate this fact that Chandigarh is a very small city and it will not have any forest and green cover. Green cover, of course, people will be knowing that some roadside avenue trees, plantations are there. But if you see the greenery statistics in last 20 years, so it has doubled in last 20 years. In spite of the fact, the city was designed just for 1.5 lakh population way back in 1950, and the population has grown almost to 12 lakhs. Same is the number of vehicles. So resource pressure on the resources is ever mounting. In spite of that also, the greenery, sir, it is continuously rising. In last 20 years, it is almost doubled, sir. So now the total green and cover and the forest cover has gone beyond 50. It is 50.05%, sir. And regarding your, sir, renewable energy, we have already tapped almost all rooftop. We are tapping for solar energy purpose. Close to 60 megawatt power we are generating out of total requirement of 400 megawatt power requirement of the city. 60 megawatt is being made through only solar. And if we see our energy mix in the entire 400 megawatt, almost like 75 to 76% is from the renewable sources, that is hydroelectric and solar. My whole point is, sir, until unless you make a tough target for yourself, you can't achieve it. The 2070 target also can be achieved once we realize that this is achievable. So in our own capacity, wherever it is possible, I think we can make very well, we can make small changes in our own lifestyle, in the lifestyle of the organization, in the lifestyle of the entire family, and in different units wherever we are. I think it is very much possible, sir. Just to throw some more light that how aggressive the city administration is, we formulated electric vehicle policies, sir, in 2022. I was Science and Technology Secretary also. So 2022 September, we have formulated electric vehicle policy wherein it is an exemplary policy for the entire country. In next 3 years, we are going to phase out the registration of all ICU two-wheelers. So 35 and 100. Like suppose in 2019, 20, 2021, 100 vehicles were registered. So 22, 23, only 35 vehicles, only 65 vehicles of ICU two-wheelers will be registered. Next year, another 35, and from third year onwards, no more registration of the ICU vehicles. So you have, and for even air quality management also, lot of steps have been taken other than the greenery, like road washing, even the washing of the tree canopy also. That I do not know if in India, in any other city, that kind of steps are taken. That tree canopies are washed with tertiary treated water. Tree canopies are washed. If you see the sewage treatment plants, sir, STP, 100%, sir, 100%. Whatever is the sewage generation, and our STP has got the capacity to treat all 100% of the wastewater generated. Though the fact remains that Chandigarh is a plant city, but it was planned maybe 50 years back. The dynamics have changed. But even then, to keep pace with the requirement, I think we can be disciplined. We can make a practical approach to all the problems that we are facing. Until unless we do that, really, that 2070 will come maybe in no time, and again we'll be at the same place where we are now. So this is what I just wanted to say. Thank you. But I just want to know what is the level of people participation in our field. Sir, people's participation. If you see this is a city of retired people, and they are all very educated. Educated mass is there. If you see the schools also, sir, we have got 158 in 158 schools. We have very active eco clubs. Eco clubs. Even the general public, they are very aware. In case one tree is simply bending, it will come in the newspaper very next day. So their expectations from the government, from the administration is very high, and they also do participate. You don't see people littering here and there. So they don't do that. So people's participation is there. I do not know why we are lagging behind Indore. That I don't know, of course. Thank you. Chandigarh, without the notice, greenery as well as other things are very, I think, one of the best city in the country. Even you are the Madhya Pradesh, my graduate by Satyam is here. Yes, sir. In Indore. Indore. Yeah. And after retirement, he assisted some NGOs and all that. His mission is that to plan more every day, many people we arrange there. Sir, there also people's participation level is very high. Government alone can't do these things actually. You have to have people's participation. Important point when we are making a plantation. So far, we have to make emphasize on the choice of institute. Yes, sir. That is also a requirement of degree. Some kind of placement of we have to go in for only the indigenous species, sir. Local species, sir. Local species. And this is non-commercial. There was a lot of problem of getting timber on this employee. I was there. It was what is the name of that species? What is the name of that? Right at Intorius. That people used to, it is naturally grown tree. So they used to take for doing the dolls in Chenpatna. But later that tree species, no one is growing that one. So naturally the tree species that it has come down, sir. So, but now we are creating awareness programs to grow a lot of Rhytia tintoria. But the natural tintoria which is growing, it is of good quality.
and which we are trying to regenerate in the nurseries, it is not coming up well, sir. So that problem we are facing, but still that natural grown Ratio tintoria near the bunds of the farmers' lands and everywhere, the people are taking that one, and a lot of demand is there for the Chenpatna dolls. So our department is working on in research type how to grow those species in nursery and promote the awareness of, to grow in farmers' lands also, sir, in agroforestry type. And this also, and we are growing Melina arborea. Sir, in that also replacement of Rhytia tintoria. In Melina arborea also we are making dolls, but the finishing of what the Rhytia tintoria we are getting, that it is less in this Melina arborea, but still now this is also picking up. And other than that, teak, sandalwood, and rosewood, we are lot of agro. We have given relaxation for the farmers, lot of relaxation, so that they can grow the trees in agroforestry and they can sell by themselves. They need not take permission for each and everything from the forest department, like cutting and everything. Before it was very difficult, but even they used to wait for getting permission for cutting the trees, sandal trees and teak trees and rosewood also. But now we have made it easy that they can cut whenever they want. And if they want, forest department is purchasing their wood, and we are doing auction and giving a proper rate for the farmers. And sometimes farmers, they themselves sell to the market. And in that they are doing a lot of timber for furnitures, and even they are doing some dolls, idols, and so many things going on that, sir. And we have good rate for internationally also. And nowadays for interiors and all, these all teak wood, and this one where they are using much more. And we have removed lot of emporiums for selling these products, and with good rates, and this one, sir. And even we are promoting a sandalwood, this one also, sir, with the sculpture idols and everything. So there are a lot of demand, but still a lot of policy have to be to make it regularize and sustainable profit for the farmers. And a lot of agroforestry scheme, Krishi Protsaha Yojane. So we so many these yojanas programs we have given to the farmers, and farmers are now, they are very interested in growing lot of agroforestry species. Nowadays mahogany is also taking a lot of demands for growing this one, because its rotational period is 12 years, and lot of veneers and plywood industries are very much interested because of its beautiful pink structure. And this also, sir, and red sanders also we are growing in farmers, red sanders, so which is of huge demand in internationally. So like this agroforestry, we have 1 lakh hectare agroforestry green cover we have done in past 10 years, sir, in Karnataka.
So, sir, I think the connectivity has resumed. Sir is back again. Sir?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. We can hear you, sir. Can you hear
So,
us?
yeah, good evening.
Okay, sir.
I'm very sorry for this technical hitch. And thank you very much, MIT University and the Ministry for this training program and an opportunity to interact with the forest officers for this training program. Let me share my screen. Please allow me to share the screen.
Sir, you have a rights to share.
So is my screen visible? Hello.
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir. Please
Okay.
put it in slide mode.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the slide mode.
Okay,
Okay.
now it's so perfect, sir.
Okay. So I think I did not to discuss about the progress of India's handicraft exports. Might have already been discussed in the morning session. But still, if you look at last 25 years or so, or 30 years rather, we see a gradual increase in the export of handicrafts. And within the handicraft items, we see that the woodwares exports has also increased. And if you look at the kind of countries that we export to, these are all developed countries, both in the US, Europe, and Australia. So my focus would be, I don't know how much time we are left with, maybe around 40 minutes or so. So let's look at the term value chain and why this term is becoming important, given the three kinds of context. One is globalization. Since 90s, mid 90s, the world has globalized, meaning thereby the companies have distributed their production to various countries. So the product may be, the resource, raw material may be extracted in one country, some value addition is done in another country, other products, parts may be made in still other countries, and final assembly may take place in another country, and then it is marketed globally. So that's why the term value chain has become important, as multinational companies, they have their operations globally, both in terms of distributed production as well as distributed distribution and marketing. So that's one thing related to this value chains. Value chains have become global with the emergence of the multinational companies, with the opening of the economies and establishment of World Trade Organization in 1995. Have facilitated, all these have facilitated the countries to.
Excuse me, sir. Your slide is not moving, sir.
Yeah, I'm not. My slide is at one place only.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So I'm coming to that. So in order to exploit the benefits of this opening of the economies and opening of the trade between countries, the firms have gone wherever resource is available, at lower cost, or wherever production cost is lower, labor cost are lower, or other factors of production are easily available, and thereby they have established large scale production facilities in different countries, and thereby they have been able to produce goods at lower cost, and they can capture larger markets globally. So that's one thing that has happened. Simultaneously, the issues related to sustainability, the biodiversity conservation, the forestry, the sustainability of the forest resources, the livelihoods of the people dependent on the communities, and sustainability in general, the larger or the wider environmental issues, and the impact on business operations, as well as the impact of business operations on the environment. That has also happened in last 20 years, culminating into the Paris Agreement 2015, and various countries making their own commitments of GHG reduction and making the targets for net zero and neutralizing their carbon impacts and all that. Ultimately, that comes to the businesses. So businesses have to imbibe sustainability as a concept, meaning thereby they have to source the material in sustainable way without harming local communities, without impacting environment as such. So that's another change that has happened in last two and a half decades or so. And then after COVID particularly, there is a different change that is happening. The problems with United States and China. So leveraging and exploiting this positive change that was happening post globalization and post WTO, countries like China have gained a lot from globalization, and they have achieved very high growth rates. Just to give an example, China between 2004 and 2011, just in 7 years, China's economy grew by 3 times. There is no parallel in the known economic history of the world that a country tripled its economy just in 7 years. China was able to triple its economy between 2004 and 2011. The region 2004 is mentioned. China got entry into World Trade Organization in 2004. The fact is WTO was established in 95. China was not a founding member, and it got membership only in 2004, and therefore it exploited the opportunities through exports. And China's exports just exploded, and today China is world's largest exporter and has become the manufacturing hub of the world. But as I mentioned, that since 2020 and the COVID and all issues related to that, added to that the economic and political relationship between United States, China, and the other blocs, multinational companies again are taking a different view as to where should they have their production base. So again, there is a shifting value chain, and many companies are now shifting their production base from China and from other countries also. They're finding new avenues for production, and countries like India are sort of getting benefited primarily into the electric and related products. So this is the third wave and third major trend that is happening globally, and therefore the value chains have become important globally. So now why business has to sort of implement sustainability, and business has to sort of imbibe the circular economy or the principles of sustainability into their businesses. To our understanding, it is business who takes most of the resources from the nature, from the ecosystems. It is the business who makes the product. The problem of pollution is product. In the last 50, 60, 70 years, a lot of new products have been invented, innovated, which consume lots of resources from the nature. And while they take these resources, for example, taking resources means mining, logging, or intensive agriculture. So this is all taking resources from the nature. Making means converting these raw material into products, intermediary products as well as finished products. For example, mining of ore, aluminium ore or iron ore or other material ores, and converting that into a metal. Iron ore converted into iron or steel, aluminium ore converted into the aluminium as a material, and then from aluminium, iron and many other material, we get products like automobiles, the digital hand devices, all kinds of these products, or for that matter, all food processed material, the finished processed food that we consume. In this process of mining, transportation, product parts manufacturing, component manufacturing, product manufacturing, assembly, waste is generated. Either there is a air pollution or there is a water. For example, paper company, when they process wood into pulp wood, from pulp to paper, a huge quantity of water, for example, is consumed. On an average, about 30 to 40 cubic meter of water is used for making a ton of paper. So you are using that 30-35 cubic meter of fresh water or maybe treated water, and after using that, it becomes waste water. So where you dispose it of? Same way, when you are using wood for making furniture or plywood or veneer, or for that matter, any other wood-based product, there is a lot of waste that gets generated. Same way, when you make automobiles or when automobiles are used, you generate waste. So there are all kinds of waste: the solid waste, the air waste, and water waste. So that's the reason it is the business who has taken, has made, and is wasting, and therefore it is the business who has to address the problem sustainability. Now, why this problem only in last 200 to 250 years? I'll just introduce one concept as to how the concept of value has changed. If you go back 200 years or 10 generations in the human evolution or human life, we find that 200 years ago, most of the markets were hard markets, village markets. The whole economy was village-based economy. There was nothing like modern economy. It has come up only during the industrialization period, which is about 180 or 200 years old. Now, what was important in that village economy was the end benefits of the products and services, what is called as solution. So, and benefits, what is the use of clothes, what is use of food, the housing, transportation. These were the basic needs. In order to fulfill these basic needs, what were the solutions? All solutions were climate friendly, nature friendly. They didn't have much impact on the environment or natural resources, and therefore natural resources were available, either it was forest based, whether it was agriculture or it was water. Whatever was naturally available, it was used in a sustainable manner. So these solutions were all natural, what we today call as nature-based solution. There is a new term emerging that now business are trying to find nature-based solutions as against man-made solutions through chemicals or the chemical products that have been evolved through the laboratory or through R&D. So all these solutions were natural. Now today we are trying to reinvent and go back to nature and learn from the nature. Shareholder value, as it was understood then, did not exist. Even if there were small businesses, they were all small scale businesses, household businesses, what we call today small micro enterprises. So the shareholder, as we understand today, they didn't exist, and therefore value creation for shareholder was not that important. What was important was end benefit, the outcomes in the form of solutions, products, which were all natural, which were all environment friendly. And even if shareholders existed, they were all small families, household enterprises, a small scale within the village. Even if there was some pollution, wastewater or waste generated, it was naturally decomposed, it was naturally, the ecosystems were capable to handle those waste. Now this had changed. So this pyramid just got inverted in last 200 years, and what we find, shareholder value has become most important. Businesses try to maximize shareholders value. You look at any business or in any business school, what is taught, even what we teach, of course, we don't overemphasize only on shareholder value, we try to emphasize on stakeholder value, including environment, local communities, ecosystems as one of the stakeholders. But unfortunately, in last 200 years or so, shareholder value maximization has become the norm for the business organizations. And while achieving that shareholder value maximization objective, firms have innovated new products. I don't want to isolate just Apple, but just give an example. Smartphone are available from rupees 10,000 to rupees 1,50,000. But last week when Apple iPhone 15 was launched, there were queues to be the first to buy iPhone 15. You already had iPhone 14. You had the older generation iPhone, but still you want to have the latest one. And first time in India it was available on the day one when iPhone 15 was launched, along with US and other European markets. So this solution, Apple has been able to create such a high value for its products, including iPhone product, that people are willing to pay any price without realizing, is that really worth paying that much of 15 times more than what otherwise other smartphone would be available. I'm not saying that the features are not that good, but then these features are just for 1 year. Next year there will be the 16th version. So people now, the business organizations have been able to create the kind of brand image that people are willing to pay 10 times, 15 times, 100 times more price for those highly branded, high brand image solutions, the products. And the end benefits and outcomes, what is that we do with that smartphone? That's the end benefit and that's the end outcome. We really do not know. I mean, since morning I've just received 2 calls, and both calls are, in fact 3 calls. 2 calls are from Dr. S.P. Singh Saab and 1 call was from another additional PCCF from Madhya Pradesh. I just received 3 calls in the whole day. And I have not used the mobile phone except receiving his call in the morning, and then in the evening just before the class wanted to connect. So it depends on, but there is another class. My own student was using mobile in the class. I have taken away that mobile and put it somewhere, saying that I'll give you this mobile phone after 24 hours. Because we don't allow students to use mobile phone, but this guy was using mobile phone in my class in the morning. Because they're always on the mobile phone. So the point I'm trying to make is, we really do not know what is the end benefit and the end outcome. So end benefits and outcomes have become less important. The solutions have become more important, and shareholder value maximization have become most important in today's society. Everywhere you talk about that business is important, businessman is important, growth is important, being fastest growing economy is important. And that has been the norm as far as developed countries were concerned till 70s, 80s. Then world realized that this kind of growth, this kind of development probably may not be sustained, and therefore sustainable development came from 1972 Stockholm Conference, leading to setting up of the UNEP. Then 1987 the Brundtland Report came, and then 1992 onwards the Rio Earth Summit and the 3 conventions, the UNFCCC, the Convention on Biological Diversity, and desertification, and all that has happened. We had Kyoto Protocol, now your Paris Agreement 2015, and national commitments, NDCs, and all that. Simultaneously, business has also realized that the way they have been utilizing or using the natural resources, the way they have been disturbing the health of the local communities, probably they cannot continue to do so forever. And therefore, in 2010, we consider this is a global year when business have started taking sustainability seriously, and what we call as imbibing sustainability in their core of business strategy formulation. Primarily because there are declining resources, we all know. If you take, I think, so madam was talking when I was not able to connect properly on some plantations and some experiments of different species. But the fact remains that we were producing about 25 cubic meter of timber from forest. When I came to this sector in 2001, I used to look at, I'm a student of international trade, and therefore I started looking at India's forest product, timber production, and India's export import. So I remember way back in 2001-2 when I looked at FAO reports on India's forestry products production, the figure used to be somewhere between 20-25 million cubic meter, the official production of the forest in the country. Today we know it is about 2.5 to 3 million cubic meter, the official production from the forest. Of course, from tree outside forest has increased, whereas the forest cover has not changed, but our forest production has gone down. I don't want to go into the thing detail, but same is true for non-timber forest produce. We have just completed a study for Madhya Pradesh in order to figure out what is the non-timber forest production potential of the state. And while doing so, it was a rapid assessment. So while we are doing so, we also tried to figure out what was the scenario 10 years ago. We found that the NTFP resource availability is declining very, very fast. And I'm sure all of you being in the forest service and you are all sort of know about the reality. So there is a fast declining resources. Businesses have also realized that, and therefore in India, if you see the efforts of ITC, WIMCO, and now many companies now they are sort of working with farmers and promoting whether it is Eucalyptus poplar, Melia dubia, or Casuarina, or any other species. There has been fast increase in plantation activities on the farmland, and now we have something like 90 plus million cubic meter or million tons of wood coming from the tree outside forest. So the natural resources have declined to a great extent. The forest quality, the degradation of the forest ecosystem services. That's one thing. Business has realized that. There is a radical transparency. So maybe 10, 15 years ago, we didn't know what negative impact business operations cause on the quality of air, quality of water, quality of soil. But now those reports are available. They have to publish sustainability reports. It's mandatory for most of the polluting industries. And therefore, there is increasing expectation of customers, government, civil society organizations for the business to behave responsibly. And when I say behave responsibly, the businesses were creating shareholder value at the cost of other stakeholders. And no more they will be able to do that. They have to balance the shareholder value along with other stakeholder value. And these are other stakeholders, they include customers, they include employees, they include the society at large, and it also includes the planet Earth or the ecosystems. So this is called sustainable value. This is the only way we can sustain as human beings or as the inhabitants of this only livable planet. Anything other than that is not sustainable, because ecosystem services are limited, natural resources are limited, the carrying capacity is limited. So just in this slide, this is how the whole the progress or a reset. So 2010 is considered to be a reset from the industrialization process, where businesses were trying to create only value or trying to maximize value only for the shareholders, the legal owners of the business. But of late, they have started focusing on the value for the society, local communities, or the communities within the vicinity of their operations, business operations, as well as the planet Earth. Any question at this stage? So this slide explains as to how a business to sustain, they create value for owners, shareholders are the owners, they create value for customers, because they can't create value for owners unless a large number of customers willing to pay 1,40,000 or 1,50,000 for iPhone. Unless these customers are satisfied, Apple will not be able to sell a product at such a premium price. And by charging premium price and squeezing the suppliers, Apple makes a huge profit, and that profit goes back to shareholders or the owners. Apple also pays quite high, not all employees, but direct employees, indirect employees. I'll just show if I have in that slide. Apple even doesn't respect basic human rights in countries like China. So this is the business as usual. Firms have been creating value for owners, customers, and employees. They did not focus on the value for the society or value for environment. So I'll come to that, and that's what called sustainable value. And then I'll come to the importance of timber or wood or a natural resource in sort of balancing that value. Any question at this stage? Hello.
So there are no questions, sir.
I hope there is still some patience. This is the fag end of the day, and I can understand after a long time they are sitting since morning. But please bear with me for a few more minutes. So just look at how Apple creates value for itself. It's slightly older data, but the data still holds true. The latest last week's figure, so I don't have on the slide, that Apple is the largest selling smartphone today. Therefore, meaning thereby Apple's total sales in numbers as well as in volume as well as in value terms, in fact, has increased. If you look at the profits of smartphone industry, this is the global scenario. As in 2018-19, Apple used to get 70% and above profit of the whole industry. The remaining 20%, 80%, the remaining 20% profitability is shared by 20-30% is shared by all other brands. Just to explain how this value chain and how businesses create value for themselves. Now, how Apple creates that value? Before that, where Apple makes its products. In last 6 months, some of you who have been tracking as to how India's FDI is increasing and how chip manufacturing is taking now place. It is starting, that ecosystem is starting. There is one company named as Foxconn. This is a Taiwanese company, headquartered in Taiwan, but its most operations are in China. And it is one of the largest supplier for Apple. Its margins are just 1% of 40 billion sales to Apple. Foxconn gets $40 billion revenue from Apple. It is the largest supplier of Apple iPhone and other products, but its margin is just 1%. Apple squeezes this supplier. And where it manufactures or assembles these iPhones and other products? In China, where there are basic human rights violations as per as the human rights ILO as well as Chinese own laws. Now, this is not my statement. This is a statement from a Harvard Business case, and Harvard Business has published, and Foxconn or second is Pegatron or Apple, they have not filed a case against Harvard Business School till date. That means that they can't counter that those facts given in that Harvard Business case. The second is Pegatron. This is also a Taiwanese company and again has most operations in China, and they abuse Chinese laws, they abuse human rights. When I say abuse human rights, children of age of 15, 16, 17 years are engaged in assembly of Apple products. They are forced to work for 10 to 15 hours. They are not provided enough food. And they are put in small rooms. 10 to 15 children is staying in small rooms. And there are cases of suicides by these so-called employees. They are not actually employees. They are 90% are interns. Students working on internship, 12th standard students working as interns. This is how Apple creates value for itself, by squeezing the suppliers, and they are huge, they are big companies. They employ about 2 to 3 lakh people in China, these two companies. They have plans to put up similar plants in India. They are already planning in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. They are putting up some 1 lakh crore rupees of investment in next 2-3 years, both these companies. 1 to 1.5 lakh crore rupees investment in chip manufacturing as well as assembly of these products, including for Apple. And Apple has actually started exporting iPhone from India. It has already started. So Apple makes 40% out of its sales. It allows only 1% to these major suppliers. There is another example. This is just a contrast. This is another example that creates value for different stakeholders. All of you are aware of this company called Amul. This is a cooperative. It's not a corporate. It's a cooperative. It has similar kind of operations in volumes, in value terms. It helps some about 32 lakh milk producers, primarily in Gujarat, but also in other states now. In Uttar Pradesh, I think they have 3-4 districts. Recently, last 1 year, they have entered Karnataka. They procure milk in Rajasthan. They procure milk in, I think, 2-3 districts in Madhya Pradesh also. This creates value of about 70,000 crores in terms of sales of milk and milk products. It exports to about 45 countries, milk and milk products. This slightly old figure, 52,000 crore. 22-23 sales of Amul is about 70,000 crores. Look at where this revenue earned by Amul goes. This revenue for Amul goes to milk producers primarily. Amul pays 70 to 75% of what you and me pay to Amul for its products. If you are buying Amul product of rupees 100, Amul pays back 70 to 75 rupees back to the milk producers. They are the suppliers for Amul. Amul has direct milk procurement from milk producers. There are no middlemen. There is nobody in between the Amul procurement and the milk producers. There is no example in the world where a milk producer gets, for that matter, any producer gets 70% of consumer pie. The consumer is paying 100 rupees for a product. There is no other example where the producer of raw material gets 70 rupees. Between 2017, Amul has been able to increase the income of its milk producers by 4 times. This is again an older figure. If you go by 23, it might be 6-fold. It's not that price has increased by 4 times. Amul has not increased the price, or its cost of production has gone by 4 times. Of course, there is some price increase also, but it is more than that. If a farmer was having 1 cow or 1 buffalo in 2010, in 2017 it had 4 buffaloes. It was able to increase its asset and thereby able to increase its milk production and thereby increase its. So how and for whom Amul creates value? So Amul creates value for both milk producers and consumers. The price of Amul product is not that premium as it is the case in Apple iPhone. The difference in price is 3 to 4 times in case of a smartphone, a premium brand and the regular brand. If you look at milk, Amul milk and milk products may be just 10% more price than all other state cooperatives or private. In fact, it may be similar. If Amul milk is at 60 rupees a liter, the other milk maybe at 55 or so. It's not that Amul milk is at 150 and other milk is available at 50 rupees. No way. So it's able to provide quality product, assured quality product at affordable price to the consumers, and at the same time passing on all its majority of revenue back to the milk producers. Against that, this is how Apple creates its value, making different parts and components across the globe. Final assembly takes place in China at very, very low cost, and then it sells its products across the globe. And this is how the profit of Apple is distributed. Apple gets 58.5% of the total profit. The remaining 42% is shared between different suppliers. Its cost of inputs is 22%. So this creating value for whom? And on the top of that, the human rights violations, the working conditions in these factories, of course, certainly not in US or Germany or other countries, South Korea, Japan. It's primarily in China and similar other third world countries. But still it squeezes everybody in every other country in terms of sharing the profits. Whereas probably Amul doesn't do that. So these are two contrasting value chains. Now here is a company called IKEA. It's a Swedish company, world's largest branded furniture manufacturer. Its primary source of raw material is timber. It sources timber both from natural forest as well as plantations. In India, mostly it is rather 100% it is from plantations, primarily mango wood and other cheaper woods also. Now this company has committed itself, and now I'm coming to the wood-based products. This company has committed since 2015 that I will source only FSC certified timber or wood for all my furniture manufacturing. Its consumption of wood is about 20 million cubic meter, and it has committed that I will purchase only FSC certified wood. Finding difficulty in getting that wood in India, but it has a commitment, a global commitment. That's where so its value chain is spread across the globe, mostly sources from countries like Russia and wherever it has its operations. Similarly, we find that there are value chains for non-timber forest produce. I think all of you would appreciate the fact that we don't have very formal, organized, systematic value chains for non-timber forest produce, and we need to do that. We look at the new working plan code to 2023. In addition to timber, of course, we have a very established, very scientific trail and chain of custody, but for non-timber forest produce, it is lacking. But certainly non-timber forest produce are very important from the point of view of the local communities. They drive a lot of benefits, both in terms of economic livelihoods, but also meeting their health, food and other needs. This is one sector, I think, if we invest. There are initiatives in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, other states where they have organized collection of non-timber forest produce and converted that into value-added and finished products. For example, Chhattisgarh Herbal, Madhya Pradesh, Vindhya Herbal, GCC, Region Cooperative Corporation of Andhra Pradesh. There are some examples, Tribes India from TriFed. There are some examples, but there is still a lot of scope for implementing both the Biodiversity Act, implementation of the access benefit sharing guidelines 2014 revised in 2019. All of that has been now incorporated in the National Working Plan Code 2015. And I think all wood-based products, including non-timber forest produce, and all such brands, whether they are Tribes India or all handicraft products, they are mostly made by the artisans, small scale, Vindhya Herbal, Chhattisgarh Herbal, they all can be termed as people's brand or sustainable products. They are natural, they are sustainable, they are nature-based solutions, and they create 5 values. They create value for owners, and owners can be the local community because the MFA Federation, Chhattisgarh Federation is also a cooperative, and primarily the legal owners of these organizations are the JFMC members. They create value for customers by providing natural products at affordable prices, quality products, genuine products coming from the forest, and certainly creating value for employees. They are creating value for society by organizing this whole value chain, sustainably harvesting. Of course, we don't have documentation. The implementation of National Working Plan Code 2023, which also has an annexure on the whole methodology as to how to do the inventory and how to get the data, would ensure that the management and the harvesting protocols are developed for each non-timber forest produce, and it is actually implemented. So they follow the same sustainable harvesting principle as it is followed for timber. So thereby it would address both the long-term availability of these resources and benefiting the local communities in terms of getting better prices, and of course the planet Earth, sustaining the availability of these NTFPs. In marketing, we call it holistic marketing, which comprises of the traditional marketing with the performance marketing that addresses not just sales revenue or brand image, but also a firm and a brand and a product being ethical, being environment friendly, being legal, and being socially responsible and desirable. So I think, yeah, so this is my more or less the last slide. So all handicraft products, they are essentially natural products. They create value for all these stakeholders. So they are what I call naturally natural, or they are organic. The moment you say it's coming from the wild, coming from the forest, obviously it is organic. So with certifications like Fair Trade, Organic, or Forest certification, these products actually can gain better prices and accessibility in the developed markets. There is already a European Timber Illegal Regulation Act 2013, which requires the legality and the known source of all wood product that enter European market. And to meet that, there is a BRIC certification initiated by the Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts. A more stringent law is coming to be implemented from next year, October 2024, which would be just sort of forest certification, requiring that all forest products, timber forest products, they are trying to add even non-timber also, but as of now they are talking of timber products entering European market will have to come from sustainably managed forest. They have not used the term certification. In fact, simultaneously there is a meeting going on with UK High Commission with ministry and some institutions. I hope ICFARI has also joined, but IFM team has joined. I was supposed to join that team, the online meeting, but for this session, I said that other members are joining from IFM. And what the UK High Commission is trying to do is that how to make these value chains of timber product in India to be complying with the coming European law. And that would require that all timber products are coming from a non-legal as well as sustainable source. And that is the reason why the government of India taking initiative and has imbibed, has sort of incorporated the criteria indicators approach of sustainable forest management in the National Working Plan Code, and then the Indian Standard for Forest Management has also become part and parcel of the Working Plan Code, and simultaneously now there is a process to start Indian Forest Certification Scheme. IFM has already submitted that to the government. We have got some comments a few days back from the regulatory bodies like NABCB, Quality Council of India. Maybe by tomorrow we'll send the final. So that would meet the requirements emerging from developed countries for all these products. So we did a project for FAO, just 2-3 minutes more before we take questions. We did a project for FAO to figure out how to remove market and regulatory restrictions for the agroforestry products. And we found that we did it for, we took 3 species, 3 species for timber and 2 species for non-timber. In fact, 3 species. So we took sandalwood for Karnataka, sandalwood and Melia dubia, poplar and Melia dubia from Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh, and Amla and 2 other NTFPs. So we find there are lots of regulatory constants in terms of the filing and transit. Sandalwood is one species where India can gain a lot by exporting processed sandalwood products. India has huge demand internally, and when we did this study, we came to know that the sandalwood industry is facing a lot of problem in getting the sufficient resource in sufficient quantity. Just a few days back, there was a message coming in WhatsApp that one sandalwood log in Kerala got 1.25 crore rupees in the auction. So there's a huge demand. Similarly, teak. I just want to share one information. I'm sure somebody might have shared that information also. In last 1 decade, on an average, India is importing 10 lakh cubic meter of teak. Since 2010-2021, I analyzed the import data for teak. 10 lakh cubic meter is our average annual import of teak. As in 90s, we were exporting teak. For last 15 years, we are importing teak. Just teak is 1 million cubic meter. The other species, which are about 5 to 6 million cubic meter, maybe 8 million to 10 million tons of pulpwood we are importing. So, while the handicraft export is increasing, the resource base is shrinking. This is high time the industry, government, institutions work together in order to increase the availability of the timber species that go, wood species that are required by the handicraft sector as well as other wood-based industries. This is the study which I did for some private multinational company to figure out how the wood, this mango wood is procured in different states. This is one in Uttar Pradesh. I think I'll stop there. If there are some questions, you can take up. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manmohan Yadav ji. Of course, there was some problem. Your presentation is very exhaustive. very lengthy, but because of shortage of time, possibly some problem. Okay. Otherwise, your presentations are very nice. And I just request, is any query from the participants, may kindly come up with that. I think there is no query from the participants, but my wish is that you have given two example. One is Apple, another is of so-called Amul.
Sir.
And in my opinion, if we may able to develop the milk example, Amul example, which will be more required in handicraft industries. And as on today, handicraft model is working on an Apple model. Hardly a 10% benefit go to the artisans and 90% profit is going to somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Again, worrying that now in Noida, Greater Noida, the Apple factory has already come up. Do you think that same situation will be over there? We are very feeling that now we are selling the Apple. Can you make a little quick comments on this? How the India is going to be benefited by this?
Sir, there was an incident. Apple had its first assembly unit in Karnataka near Bangalore. And I'm quoting the newspaper reports. I don't have immediate access, but I just recall it. 2 years back, there was an incident in Apple assembly unit in Bangalore where the employees went on vandalism against the company for not making their due payments. So I think that culture is still there, and I hope that the same kind of work conditions are not there in India as it is in China. I hope Apple will follow its global code of conduct as it does in United States and other developed countries. There will be not different set of standards for a third world country or a global south country. It will follow the global standard.
Okay, thank you very much. I convey my sincere thanks to you. I know because of commitment at Bhopal, you may not be able to come physically, but I hope the next time, because your subject is so vibrant, it will not justify by the online. Let me tell you very frankly. So let us try in the next future to come physically over here. That will be more beneficial to all of us. So,
thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. It's really
so thank you very much.
place to interact with the forest officers, the colleagues in the sector. Thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to what your participants when they doing like this. Like this, by the time by the will be over. Should I require to go to guest house?